Greetings once again, Sonic Heroes. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with another issue of Sonic the Hedgehog by IDW. We're coming off of a very lengthy hiatus, and the idea of any Sonic book going on a hiatus gives me the willies after what happened to the Archie comic. That hiatus lasted from a few months to a year to cancellation, but the IDW book doesn't have the same issues and hang-ups that the Archie book had. And the Fang special was pretty good, especially since, spoiler alert, cut a little bit ahead, it led into Superstars. And it also had some connections to the IDW book as well, which was a welcome little addition. Regardless, while the previous issue was mostly just a self-contained Sonic and Tails story, we've had a lot of events leading up to where we are now. Clutch has started an organization called Clean Sweep Inc. Since he's a procurer of all things Eggman tech, he loves getting the little odds and ends that are left behind after Eggman's battle. However, he also loves to get paid for doing so as well. Unfortunately, the Restoration led by Jewel does so pro bono. They're a community service kind of situation, something Clutch isn't too keen on, and so he's teamed up with Mimic for a little bit of corporate sabotage as well as espionage, with Mimic going along with it, since it means sticking it to the goodies as it were. Clutch has also managed to get Surge and Kit in on it as well, another couple of ne'er-do-wells who have nowhere else to really go in the world. Leave it to Ian and the other teams to try to, Ian or Evan, I think it's Evan mostly at this point, who have a tendency to want to consolidate their villain groups into one entity, especially since it's leading into a grander exploit later down the line. We're getting closer to issue 75, and with Surge and Kit joining the Restoration under false pretenses of wanting to go legit as it were, that creates an even bigger diversion for Mimic, who has disguised himself as the newest member of the new Diamond Cutters duo, and after a run-in with Silver only helped to solidify Duo's innocence. Surge and Kit's presence makes sure that no eyes will be on the knife that Mimic wields behind the back of our hero. But what's really interesting is Extreme Gear. Whereas the games have seemingly just left everything to do with Sonic Riders behind in the dust, and leave it to the comics to always pick up that torch and go running full speed ahead. And with so many of our main characters, both Surge, Kit, Mimic, as well as the Diamond Cutters in on this as well, I'm interested to see what this story will yield and why everyone's going supersonic racing. Join me as I find out, won't you? Sonic issue 69. Nice. And it's nice to see everyone on Extreme Gear again. I guess Amy is taking Knuckles' place in terms of Team Sonic, since Sega's gotten a little bit more restrictive on how they want to place Knuckles in terms of whether or not he leaves Angel Island, which is so weird. And I know that has to be the case because, Ian has been met with those restrictions as well as Evan since she's writing the story. It's also cool to see the Diamond Cutters using the alternative Extreme Gear, the lesser used one, such as the hover shoes for Tangle, as well as the biking components for Whisper and Lanolin. Loving this cover page though, especially because it's got these lines on it that's almost like they took a little bit from the sketches too. Not to mention the riding above the clouds and that ship in the background coming up with the logo, with the ship in a bit of the forefront beyond the logo. That's really cool. Alright, enough gushing. Our story is by Evan Stanley, inks by Min-Ho Kim. Oh, really? Oh, that should be good. Min-Ho Kim is actually really good. Colors by the main man, Reggie Graham. Color assistant by Jonathan Dobbs and Rick Mack. Okay. Letters by Sean Lee. Editors David Marriott and Thay Chuk. New up-and-comer. Production by Johanna Natali. Ooh, a new setup for the roll call. Interesting. You have our main characters, Sonic the Hedgehog, the Blue Blur, fastest thing alive, Miles Tails per hour, tech-savvy sidekick, high-flying genius, Amy Rose, hammer-swinging heroine, restoration ally, and then the Restoration itself, successor to the Resistance, and dedicated to rebuilding society. I'm surprised we don't just have everyone else kind of sectioned under Clean Sweep Inc. But we have Duo the Cat, aka Mimic, Expert Infiltrator, ex-Diamond Cutter, the Babylon Rogues, the Legendary Thieves, Mercenaries for Hire. I forgot to mention that Clutch had hired them as well, previously. Surge the Tenic, the Mean Green, Roguish Speedster, Dr. Eggman, Mad Genius, Egg Enthusiast, Clutch the Possum, Seedy Businessman, Eggman Tech Hoarder. Man, we're getting everybody in for this upcoming milestone. Oh hey, Night the Owl. Dang. Oh, so that's the ship. Is this a repurposed Eggman ship? Oh, this is cool. I am loving the visuals for this. Alright, so our MC for this event is Night the Owl. Great use of continuity and other characters made. As Knight says, "Welcome, sports fans, to an extreme gear extravaganza and charity event the likes of which you've never seen." And you hear a massive cheer from the audience. As Knight continues on, "Put your hands together for the first ever Clean Sweepstake, brought to you by the Restoration and Clean Sweep Inc. I'm Night the Owl, Sunset City's favorite DJ and friend to the Restoration. I'll be your MC, so you better get used to me." I love it. Oh, this is gonna be fun. I am vibing with this story. We've got a lot of riders raring to go, whether they're here for fun or glory, or the generous prize pool. There's going to be some stiff competition. Not everybody's gonna make it through the qualifying round, but they're sure as heck gonna try. And we see everyone kind of sorted into teams. Sonic, Amy, and Tails probably making up Team Sonic. Interestingly enough, we see the Team Diamond Cutters. I am loving their riders-inspired outfit. Although, usually there's teams of 3. That's a Sonic staple. So, I wonder how Duo's gonna kind of be sorted out in all of this. Naturally, we've also got the Babylon Rogues. And then Surge and Kit, as well as a random koala is here. Interesting. Usually we only see koalas when it comes to Blaze's world. A joint operation between Clean Sweep Inc. and the Restoration. I wonder how this is gonna be set up to hurt the Restoration. And of course, Omo Chow with the starting flag. Ooh, do I see the Buddy character in the background there too? One of the creative characters you can make. Alright, Knight announces, "Now, without further ado, riders, start your extreme gear." We see Sonic, Amy, Tails, Kit all at the starting line. The countdown starts. 3, 2, 1, go! And everyone races off, ready for a grand high-flying adventure. Also, Surge also has a bike. Nice. And then Kit's on a scooter. Kitty Puff Jr. Everyone always goes for the board extreme gear, so it's nice to see other characters actually using the bike ones. I swear, they must have got into the creative character just to get as many characters as possible for this, because it is just characters upon characters upon characters in the background. Knight announces, "Remember, riders, for this qualifying event, all you need to do is make it to the finish line before the timer runs out. So go out there and have a good clean race." And we see Amy and Sonic making their way further and further to the front of the pack. Naturally. Oh, Sonic has that little extra add-on that Tails had made for him. Oh wow, that ties in the last issue. That's actually kind of cool. I love it when something isn't just an unnecessary add-on just to push the plot, but actually has relevance to an upcoming story. Naturally, Sonic's doing some grandstanding and some tricks, doing a one-handed handstand on his board saying, "Alright, you two ready to show him what we can do?" Amy cheers, "You know I am, Sonic." Sonic calls out for Tails, but Tails is just scoping out all the other gear I love his look, like he's just gushing, saying, did you see that? I've never seen a yacht type with a sail like. Ooh, that's an Alkalovis board? Huh. Excelovis? Huh. That's an interesting word. Excelovis board. They're out of production. I love the people trying their best just to kind of concentrate on the race. Sonic comes over to Tails saying, you want to test your new prototypes? Or should we find a spot to sit and watch? Tails says, oh, sorry, let's go. But they're being scoped out by Surge and Kit, of course. And we have the audience sitting in the stands. I love these characters in the background. One dude drooling over somebody else's popcorn. As Knight pops up on a view screen, talking to the audience saying, this event is made possible by the partnership between the Restoration and our new friends at Clean Sweep Inc., the world's top waste management pros. All proceeds from the sweepstakes will be going right back into the Restoration to expand their repair and recycling efforts worldwide. But don't take my word for it. Clean Sweep's here to tell you all about, oh no, what's this? It's Dr. Yolk and his nasty naughty Nick, here to ruin our good clean fun. They made mascot representatives for Dr. Eggman and one of his badniks. That is hilarious, because it's obviously somebody in a suit. Everyone's throwing trash at, or oh no, he's throwing trash out. Dr. Yolk saying, oh ho ho, yes, my genius is the most geniusest genius there is. Clean Sweep will never be able to stop my littering litany. No one can stop me and my robots. And he cries out as his Nick, with his little crab meat, just pinches him in the booty. Oh, it's Barry! Barry's serving hot dogs. Oh, that's so cool. And Dr. Yolk goes running after Nick saying, you nincombat, you ruined my big entrance. Bad, Nick, bad. Oh man, that is a level of clever I wasn't ready for. And then you see guys in the background just sweeping all the trash away, and the audience is laughing it up. This would have been a great chance to have a lot of Sonic's other friends in like the audience and stuff. And the guys sweeping up everything say, don't get egg on your face. Crackpot cracked up your neighborhood. Clean Sweep can help. That's pretty good. And in a special viewing area, we see Clutch and Jewel drinking down some Chaos Cola. And whereas it's obvious that Clutch loves it, Jewel is less than interested, saying, sorry, it's a bit sweet for me. Clutch likes his copious amounts of sugar. Clutch takes the glass, saying, it's quite alright. Limited edition Chaos Cola Extreme Berry Blazit, is an acquired taste. Jules then questions, you're sure I shouldn't be down there representing the Restoration? Clutch says, leader, can I give you a bit of advice? I think of Clutch's voice kind of like Doug Dimmadome, owner of the Dig Sale Dimmadome. He motions out to the festivity saying, being so public, it's a recipe for trouble. An individual is approachable, fallible, weak. The people need to see the Restoration as an institution. But this, nobody can touch this. Jewel seems unconvinced, saying, but the Restoration has always tried to connect with the people we're trying to help. Clutch's big business, essentially, which I gotta like it. It kind of takes Sonic back to his, fight the power roots, as it were. Clutch waves her off, saying, and you will. But to scale up your operation, some changes are necessary. Jewel looks despondent, saying, I guess Clean Sweep's prep work has been impressive. Clutch puts a comforting hand on Jewel's shoulder, saying, oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. I promise to take the Restoration global, and this is how you do it. Trust me. Suddenly an alert goes off, and Jewel hops up out of her seat looking at, I guess, some kind of communication device, saying, I lost track of time. I have to get back to my desk. You're working even now? Jesus. Clutch questions, really? You'll miss the race. And Jewel flies off, or hovers off, saying, racer now, there's paperwork, but like you said, it's where I shine. Jewel, it kinda does show that Amy really did put the right person in charge. Jewel is nothing if not dutiful. Back out at the race, naturally it seems that Sonic, Tails, and Amy are up ahead. This really makes me wish we had another Sonic Riders game. I feel with the new engines that we have and everything, it'd be great. Cause the first few Sonic Riders games were amazing. It's only when you did the freaking Connect stuff with Sonic Free Riders that it bombed, and go back to the basics. Sega has such a tendency to throw the baby out with the bathwater, I swear. But Knight announces, the riders are starting to move down into town. Watch out, this course is going to be a challenge. And suddenly, who should come racing past Sonic and almost throwing him off his board? None other than Jet. And as he gets in front, Wave and Storm flank Amy and Tails. And naturally, Jet takes time to mock, saying, well, if it isn't Sonic the Hedgehog. You're early, the kitty race is at halftime. Of course. And it's very obvious Sonic is trying his best to just ignore him. But Jet continues on saying, sorry to interrupt your little joyride, but I wanted to give you guys a little warning. While you've been playing in the dirt, we've been at work. Well, I won't share all the details, but hope you all enjoy headlines on paper. You've never faced the Babylon Rogues like this. Do you really think you can beat us? I have no idea what he's trying to get at here, but, it's Jet. More than likely it means that they've been making upgrades, working on their technique high up in the sky while Sonic's just been doing running on the ground, yada 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 Jet stuff. And naturally Wave takes a moment to mock Tails, saying, don't waste your time, Jet. As usual, this Shrimp's gear is very creative, as she says so mockingly. Tails gets a little bit embarrassed, saying, the prototypes, you'll see. And Amy comes to his defense, saying, leave him alone, Wave. I'd take Tails' extreme gear over yours any day. Storm comes up behind her cracking his knuckles, saying, you're not gonna be so uppity once we're done with you. And then Amy eyes him, saying, oh, won't I? Storm backs off a little, saying, no, it's nothing. Jet continues on with his taunt, saying, your friends are talking a big game, Sonic. You gonna back it up? Well, say something. Then suddenly Sonic pumps his brakes, much to Jet's shock, and then he boosts out on the double as he kind of throws Jet, Wave, and Storm off their game a little, and then he races forward as Amy and Tails kind of scoot around their adversaries to join up with him. A flustered Jet yells, get back here! And Sonic just sticks his tongue out at him. That is the best way to get under Jet's skin. Ignore him, and then outclass him. Team Sonic are all smiles as Sonic gives Tails a thumbs up, saying, dude, the acceleration on this thing is sick. With Tails blushing and laughing, saying, thanks. Okay, so I guess they're not operating in teams. This is just a qualifying event, huh? Tails then adds, but maybe don't floor it from a cut angle like that. It might explode a little. On the aerial view, we see Sonic, Amy, and Tails out in front, backed by the Babylon Rogues, then Lanolin and Surge, then Tangle and Kit. I'm not seeing Whisper. Interesting. The Rogues managed to catch up with Team Sonic, with Jet saying, hey, I wasn't done talking to you, Hedgehog, and he knocks Sonic's board with his. But suddenly there's a massive explosion on the wall next to them. Oh, it's the Diamond Cutters. Was Lanolin actually supposed to blow something up with that? Because she used her Wisp-On to do that. But it's Lanolin flanked by Whisper, Duo, and Tangle. I love Tangle on her little extreme gear hover shoes. Again, this makes me want to play Sonic Rush, an updated version. It's a perfect chance to have all these characters in. But Lanolin eyes Jet, saying intentional gear collisions are against clean sweepstakes policy. Leave it to Lanolin to enforce the rules, as Jet says, oh great, it's the fuzz. And I feel like that's a double me and Dondra, Lanolin tells him. As a sweepstakes referee, if I see you doing that again, I'll... Oh, they have the armbands. Okay, so they're not competing, they're just reffing. Okay. I guess that makes sense as members of the Restoration. And, of course, Tangle waves to the group saying, Sonic, Tails, Amy, hi! And Amy waves, hi, Tangle. And Sonic just gives him a salute, but he's a little taken off guard. Okay, so they're just referees. Interesting. So are Surge and Kit also referees? Jet angrily questions Lanolin, saying, seriously? This is clearly favoritism. And Lanolin says, it doesn't matter who they are. There are rules for a reason, and we're here to uphold them. And as they enter a turn, the rogues get ahead, saying, fine then, we'll beat you all fair and square. But an unknown entity who has a look very similar to Surge presses a button. Oh, suddenly there's a surge in Amy's board that takes her off guard as she questions, what's... And she just takes off in a mad dash, zigzagging all over the place, almost knocking people off the racetrack. As Amy holds on for dear life, she says, somebody get me off this thing! Sonic and Tails come to a screeching halt. As Sonic calls out for Amy, Tails says, oh no! And as they try to take off after her, their boards also have an interesting green surge to them too, and they go spinning, knocking Sonic and Tails off of them. We then cut back to yesterday evening, as everything's being set up. Oh wait, so that's Clean Sweep's ship? Interesting. That's elaborate. No wonder it looks so much like a repurposed Eggman ship. Clutch meets with one of the workers saying, there you are, Mimic. Come, enjoy the sunset with me. How did he know it was Mimic? I guess Mimic says, I got the rider registration log. There are some interesting ones you might like to see. As Clutch accesses the pad, he pulls up the Babylon Rogues as he questions, these are the people I should be worried about? Mimic says the Babylon Rogues are notorious. Clutch says, I've dealt with their clan. Airborne moron, always scrambling for treasure. He then pulls up Team Sonic. As Mimic says, I'm sure you've heard plenty about these three. And Clutch says, I've managed to stay off their radar so far, even after that unfortunate run-in with Miss Rose. Oh yeah, at the lodge. If they found out about our work here, things could get messy. Mimic questions, shall I arrange something? Clutch tells him, we have all the riders' gear in the machine shop for pre-race inspection. Talk to my boys down there. They know what I like. Make sure they hit all three of them. Best to be thorough. And Mimic's eyes shift as he gives a smile and a nod. We then cut today, early morning. Ooh, Surge with her hair down. Oh man, fans are gonna go nuts over that. Duo calls out to Surge and Kit in their room, waking them up saying, hey, wake up. Surge groggily stirs and looks over her bunk bed saying, what are you doing in our room, creep? And Kit, who's buried under pillows, hops up saying, what happened? Duo tells him, I got a job. Oh, you've got a job. He holds up the remote saying, the boss wants you to tail Sonic and his buddies in the race and use this to knock his gear out. Surge jumps down from her top bunk saying, Peh, all this sneaking around's not our style. If he wants Sonic gone, sure, but we'll do it. Suddenly, Clutch's cane hits the ground, and it startles Surge and Kit, as it seems that Mimic isn't the only one in their room. As Clutch says, Style left you two nearly dead and hiding in a hole before I found you and gave you gainful employment at my side. You'll have your fun. Sonic will suffer, but we're going to be smart about it. And while Surge and Kit eye him a little bit, Surge takes the remote from Duo. Clutch says, thank you, much better. In the present, Tails is lifting up Sonic with his flying abilities as Sonic points to Amy saying, get in close, I'll grab her. And as Amy is still hanging onto the board for dear life and sees Sonic and Tails, she says, Sonic, my hero. But both her board as well as Sonic and Tails, Amy screams out for Sonic. And while Sonic did manage to grab onto Amy's foot, they're along for the ride now too. Sonic calls out, hey, you're off the board, aren't you? Okay, let's do something about these haywire Suddenly, a Wisp-on shot downs their boards, naturally fired from Whisper. Tangle comes up asking, "Are you guys okay?" Although Lanolin just says, "Get off the track, you're nearly as big of a hazard as your faulty gear." Tangle gets defensive, saying, "Lanolin, what the heck? They're our friends." Although Duo holds her back, saying, "It sounds harsh, but she's not wrong." While Lanolin dismisses it, saying, "The only thing that stopped the pileup was Whisper's good aim." And she calls out to the crew, saying, "Let's go, Diamond Cutters." And Tangle follows, although looks back to Sonic's group worried. Meanwhile, Surge and Kit pass them on the raceway. Surge tucking away the remote, saying, "That'll do for now. Get the let out, Drippy. We got a race to finish." Kit says, "Yes, ma'am," and they both accelerate into the pack. Later, cut to Jewel, questioning disqualified. Duo is reporting to Jewel, saying, "There was an equipment malfunction. Mr. Prower's gear was experimental, after all. Luckily, we were able to contain the situation." Jewel questions, "How's Sonic and the others doing? I'd like to talk to them." Duo shakes his head, saying, "Nobody has seen them since the race. As far as we know, they've already left." Jewel asks, "Could you look around for them? I'd like to be sure they're okay." She says as she sips her coffee, and then says, "I should call Amy." But Duo, while walking away with a mischievous grin, says, "Don't trouble yourself, Miss Jewel. I'll take care of everything." Later, in a Central City diner, Team Rose is licking their wounds more or less. Sonic is obviously a little less than pleased with what's happened, and Tails is full on face down on the table, saying, "What a disaster. I have no idea how it could have gone so wrong." Meanwhile, Amy, who is adding an excessive amount of sugar to her coffee, says, "Stop beating yourself up, Tails. I'm telling you, something about this whole situation stinks. My board isn't even one of yours, remember? And the Clean Sweep staff were huge jerks. We couldn't even get close to anybody from the restoration after the race." And we see a memory of Amy angrily yelling at one of the Clean Sweep staff. Sonic chimes in, saying, "I'm with Amy. Something's off." Yep, that might be the giveaway. Everyone just kind of assumed that Tails had tinkered with Amy's gear as well. Tails picks his head up, saying, "The only time our ex-gear were out of sight was when they were being examined on the restoration's main shuttle." Amy smiles, saying, "Ooh, we should investigate. We'll track down whoever did it and give him what for." Tails shakes his head, saying, "But the restoration shuttle leaves tomorrow. The whole sweepstakes is going to be touring the world. Once it's airborne, it won't be coming down. It'll be nearly impossible to get inside." Sonic shrugs, saying, "So, we'll take the tornado and bust in." Tails says, "If we trash the shuttle and ruin the sweepstakes, it defeats the purpose of investigating." I gotta like this. It's the kind of classic stuff you'd see in some of the Archie stuff, where our heroes would sometimes be hog-tied by the villains just being a tad bit smarter than them. Suddenly a voice chimes in, I wish you'd show that kind of compassion for my plans every once in a while. Hello, Sonic." Enter Eggman, with a hat, trench coat, and duffel bag. This is a look that looked like, I feel like I've seen this. Was it like Sonic Jam or something? Naturally, Sonic, Tails, and Amy get on defensive, calling out Dr. Eggman, as Eggman just slides in right next to Tails. I love that panel. It just has Tails like, "Dude!" And Eggman just sits down, saying, "Oh, settle down. I'm not here to fight. Hey, I'll have a super slam with extra ham and a coffee and make it snappy," he says to the waitress. Oh man, we're gonna see so much art of that waitress. Honestly, this whole issue is gonna have artists galore, like drawing these characters. Sonic, foot full up on the table, leans into Eggman, saying, "So, you stopped by 'cause you were feeling a little peckish?" Eggman crosses his hands on the table, saying, "I am. I'm not used to having to track you down. It's hard work. But no, I come to you with a proposition. Allow me to explain. After you and your friends so rudely destroyed my Eggperial city, I took a bid off I took a bit of a sabbatical. Okay, my mind kept trying to read it some other way, to refresh my creative drive. But by chance, I stumbled across the airing of the Clean Sweepstakes opening ceremony, and I did not like what I saw. As we see Eggman watching the little Dr. Yoke segment that Orbot and Cubot are watching, I should have known. I should have known that would bring him in. Can you believe the nerve of this so-called Clean Sweep Inc. to profit off my brilliance all while mocking me? It'd at least be entertaining to watch you and those Babylon rogues squabble, but no, you were knocked out of the race by some very obvious trickery. Humiliating you was my job. But then, through my indignation, I got an idea, and I began to build. It was a miracle. My inspiration had returned. At last my genius could be... Ooh, there's my food, finally. And Eggman's just going to town on that ham and eggs, while Tails is trying to squeeze past him, reaching for his little duffel bag. He says, "So, what did you make?" Eggman, while stuffing his face, says, "See for yourself, it's in here." Tails opens up the bag and his eyes go just glazed. He brings out a, I'm really not sure what that is, but Tails goes, "Whoa." Even Amy is flabbergasted as Eggman says, "Speed, power, handling, it delivers. It has adapt hard line camouflage too. I call it the Eggstream gear. Egg, since you were instrumental in the return of my drive, I figured I would repay the favor." He eyes Sonic from across the table. Tails takes a moment to think, saying, "Sonic, if you use this to create a distraction during the event tomorrow." Amy chimes in saying Tails and I might be able to sneak onto the shuttle. Eggman says, "Indeed," as he takes a sip of his coffee. Sonic backs up off the table saying, "Alright, Eggman, what's your angle?" Eggman takes off his hat and holds up his hand saying, "No angle, honest. Truth, justice, or whatever you're after is fine by me, as long as you find out who is behind Clean Sweep. Interested?" He gives a wry smile. And I didn't think Clutch was going to get in the sights of Eggman of all people. This is the one thing most of the characters would never plan for. You never plan for the alliance of Sonic and Eggman. Sonic smiles and folds his arms saying, "You got a deal, Doc. Next time, meet the Phantom Rider." Oh man, Sonic's going in undercover as a masked rider. That is so cool. I will admit, I am just a little bit bummed that it isn't a bit of a straightforward kind of race between everyone. I actually would have loved to have seen that play out. But this angle is a bit of a delightful twist, all things considered. And I am wondering how long all of this will play out. I mean, again, we're leading into issue 75. There's no way there isn't something pretty big planned for that. I am bummed that we ended up with a hiatus. Again, I like the Fang book. It's just, I would have loved to have been reading this. But it does get me pumped up. And it also does leave me questioning Sonic working with Eggman. There's gotta be some angle for Eggman as well. But if it ends up being Eggman who helps to expose the machinations of Clutch and his group, I don't know. That's gonna be so interesting. See, this is the kind of stuff I loved back in the Archie days. Especially like when Ian and Evan and everybody was working, because you always had all these intricate moving parts, and you were never quite certain what direction things were gonna go, what character was gonna show up, who was gonna clash with who, what revelations would come about, and how long will it take for people to finally realize what's been going on with not just Clutch, but Duo, Surge, Kit. But will them working with Eggman actually harm Sonic and the others' credibility? Hard to say. Man, some really fun stuff is happening here, and I can't wait for the next issue. Not to mention, though the Diamond Cutters are the refs, how will the Babylon Rogues factor into this as well? Because that can't just be it for them. Will the Rogues end up helping out Team Sonic in the end, unhappy that they weren't able to beat them fair and square? That could also be a factor as well. Again, so many moving parts. I love it when we just have a big old group of characters and we just go at it. Those are the most fun Sonic arcs, and this is gearing up to be one of them. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. What are you expecting to see? Who will double cross who? Will Clutch be exposed in the end? Or will he use his many scapegoats to get away clean? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.